Use these 7 ways to develop your intelligence to become like Kiyotaka Ayanokoji. Implement knowledge to benefit you. You can memorize all the information in the world, but if you can't implement that knowledge to be useful, then it's pointless learning it in the first place. While it's good to remember a wide range of information, it's actually more important to use that knowledge to benefit you. Realize that all that memorization becomes futile if you don't use that information to produce beneficial results. The fact that most people don't do anything useful with the information they learned is one of the core reasons they are unintelligent. You have to actually think about how you can use information in order to lead to a beneficial end result. For example, if you're learning about the psychology of propaganda, you could use this knowledge to brainwash people or to prevent yourself from being brainwashed. With this, you actually produce something that's beneficial to you. Remember that intelligence is not just about how much you know, it's also about how you can do something useful with the information you received. Utilize abstract thinking. It is quite common for unintelligent people to not understand theories, concepts, and ideas. They only see what's physically in front of them and usually don't think beyond that. To become more intelligent than the average person, you have to use your abstract thinking frequently. Basically, whenever there's literal and obvious information in front of you, you need to be thinking about the underlying information. This could be the psychology, philosophy, politics, or the patterns of a situation. Pondering upon these things allows you to think at a higher level than everyone else. It's not something people think about often because it's intangible and not very obvious. If you're a person with basic shallow thinking, there's 2 easy methods that you can use to utilize abstract thinking. The first method is to question things frequently. The reason you want to do this is because it will push you to use abstract reasoning. You can ask yourself questions such as, what are the motives of these people? Why are there specific rules in place? Why do so many people hate this individual? You don't have to come up with an answer right away. The whole point of asking these questions is to encourage yourself to think and reason at a higher level. Basically, pondering upon the answers to these questions will allow you to use abstract thinking. The second method to develop your abstract thinking is to think of multiple ways of completing an objective. When you come up with different approaches and possibilities within your mind, you easily increase your abstract thinking ability, letting you plan out the best possible option. For example, if your goal is to convince somebody to help you, you can think of many possibilities on how you could achieve this objective. You could do a favor for them, offer rewards, blackmail the person, or perhaps you use flattery to persuade your target. A person with good abstract reasoning can easily come up with these options. People who are shallow thinkers will think of one way to solve a problem, but if you develop your abstract thinking, you will easily think of multiple solutions. Never judge something before understanding it. You might believe that you are using reasonable thinking, but in reality you're probably just being judgmental since you're not taking the time to gain enough information. It's a common type of stupidity among society. People will often form their own opinions and beliefs on something without actually doing any research on the topic. This is because they are mentally lazy, so they just make snap judgments on insufficient information. To become smarter than all these people, you need to stop judging things so quickly. Slow down and take the time to gather more information before forming a conclusion. If you don't have enough information to understand something deeply, then you should refrain from forming a conclusion. You have to realize that only unintelligent people jump to conclusions, which is why you should stop making assumptions. If you judge something without any understanding of it, you're just being idiotic like everyone else. Just simply take the time to understand something, and you will easily develop yourself to become more intelligent. Perceive from multiple perspectives. It's very easy to let yourself get stuck in your own head where you're only thinking of your own ideas. This can significantly hinder your intelligence because you're limiting the amount of knowledge you have. However, if you're willing to look from another person's perspective, you open your mind up to receiving more information. Information such as their emotions, beliefs, ideas, and personal experiences. This can be useful for manipulating or influencing individuals. And you also gain a better understanding of situations because you're not limited to one perspective. This is the power of looking from multiple perspectives. Recognize that it's a crucial asset to developing your intelligence and doesn't make you narrow-minded like most people are. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to agree with what they believe, you just have to understand their way of thinking. If you're able to do this, you will put yourself at a higher level of intelligence. Understand your own psychology. This aspect of intelligence is often overlooked, and since so many people neglect self-awareness, they will always commit foolish actions without knowing why. To avoid the ignorance that most people experience, you have to take the time to learn how you psychologically operate. You simply need to reflect on the many different aspects of your individual psychology. This could be your habits, relationships, motives, insecurities, etc. Some people may think it's hard to analyze yourself, but it's actually easier than you might think. You just need to ask yourself questions that's related to you. You could ask yourself, why am I feeling fear? What do I actually desire? What is the reason for my hatred? These psychological questions can lead you to the root cause of why you behave a certain way, and will also allow you to uncover the strengths and weaknesses of your character. Basically, if you can pinpoint the exact reason of why you do certain actions, you will have enough self-awareness to control yourself, stopping yourself from committing irrational actions while also increasing your intelligence. Rely on your own thinking. If you always have to rely on other people to think for you, then you're obviously not intelligent. While it can be useful to occasionally consider another person's thoughts on something, it shouldn't be a normal tendency to let other people make decisions for you. You basically put yourself in an inferior position whenever you delegate all the thinking to other people. It makes you more prone to manipulation, deception, and brainwashing because you don't know how to think for yourself. This dependency is a common weakness among many people, and intelligent individuals don't need to rely on others to think for them. What you need to do is train yourself to be more self-reliant. You do this by knowing something very well and keeping yourself informed. If you have enough knowledge on something, you have the power to make your own decisions and to assert your own superior way of doing something. The only reason for you to rely on another person is because you're ignorant on a certain subject. It's fine to be temporarily ignorant in a certain area, but you shouldn't keep yourself ignorant forever. Only unintelligent people do this, and since they are so unknowledgeable on so many things, you can easily surpass them in order to use your own superior way of thinking. Always seek the truth. The ability to see the truth of every situation is something that only an intelligent person can do. Unintelligent people cannot do this because they have no desire to actually seek the truth, so they easily get deceived by the superficial and never question if something is false information. Whether you like it or not, there's a lot of lies and deception in this world. Most people will not recognize it because they don't question the truth of certain things. If you want to become more intelligent, you need to have the intention of finding the truth so that you can see through the deception. Realize that people often deceive others both intentionally and unintentionally. This can range from somebody lying to shape their public perception, or an individual providing false information that they foolishly believed. These are things you have to consider as a possibility when you're determining the truth, and the truth can only be discovered if you're constantly questioning the information that people are providing you. Along with that, you have to accept the truth as it is, even though the truth can sometimes be harsh and disappointing. Thanks for watching VevenSeven.